Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, November 14th. A chilly pattern has returned to the mid-Atlantic region. It looks like it'll be dry and chilly, below normal temperatures right into the weekend. And then we'll have to turn our attention to a western Atlantic low that will be developing. And it looks like it'll be a very slow-moving system, combination of a very strong high-pressure systems setting up shop over the northeastern part of the country or eastern part of Canada will help to block the movement of a slow-moving western Atlantic storm early next week. So there's potential for a prolonged period of onshore flow along the mid-Atlantic coast, and along with that will go the threat for some coastal flooding, beach erosion, and some rain in the early and perhaps even into the middle part of next week. There are some disagreements with the models as usual at this vantage point. In the medium range, European model has a storm closer to the coast, where this GFS model has it farther out to sea, in fact harmlessly out to sea, and we'll take a look at both of those models over the next couple of minutes. Here's the latest surface map, and there's really high pressure situated already here over the eastern part of the country. And this is a main player because it really becomes a very slow moving or even stationary area of high pressure. May move a little bit to the north and east over the next couple days and then park itself over the eastern part of Canada. Meanwhile, the front that came through yesterday is now well off the east coast, and we're all in a chilly air mass here in the eastern part of the country. Again, below normal for the next few days, albeit on the dry side with plenty of sunshine. Pretty pleasant weather out in the Rockies all the way to the west coast today, as again, no big storms really in the continental U.S. for the rest of the week. But over the weekend, we'll see the development of a storm right off the Carolina coast, so we'll have to monitor that for all of next week here in the east. Well, let's kind of walk through a couple of these computer forecast models right here. I'll just show one map here from last night's GFS model run. This is for Monday evening of next week. And as is usual, the GFS has a coastal storm farther to the south and east compared to the European model. In recent history, the European model has certainly done a better job in the medium range, like 4, 5, 6 days ahead of the event. And here we go again. We have the GFS forecast map for Monday evening of next week. The low situated well off the coast. Precipitation not even really reaching the coast, maybe the extreme eastern part of New Jersey. Notice, though, it does have a strong high pressure system over eastern Canada. And I think in reality, a situation like this where a high pressure is situated in that region, this storm will probably end up being a little closer to the coast, much like what the European model has. So we'll take a look at that next. Well, here's the forecast map from last night's European model run for Sunday evening. This is 24 hours before that GFS map I just showed, but here's the high according to the European model sitting right here. Now notice all this onshore flow of air already developing as a low kind of gets organized here in the western part of the Atlantic. Just a large area setting up here of onshore flow, and this very well could lead to a prolonged period of onshore flow, which ultimately results in the potential for some coastal flooding and beach erosion. And now let's take a look at what the European model does 24 hours later. And here it is 24 hours later, the same time frame as that GFS forecast map we just showed. And here the European model for Monday evening of next week has a low much closer to the coast. Still a strong onshore flow of air, strong high pressure situated pretty much just over eastern Canada or the maritime provinces of Canada and sitting there. So the combination of this western Atlantic low and this high over the eastern part of Canada has like a long fetch of onshore flow here, and that again very likely to cause some rain along the mid-Atlantic coast all the way out to the I-95 corridor, as well as the possibility of some flooding at the coastline during periods of high tide, and also some beach erosion. Now, one bit of good news is that there is no full moon next week or new moon. Looks like it'll be a quarter moon phase, so that will not add to any potential coastal flooding problems at high tide. So we'll monitor this situation. These European maps, by the way, come from RaleighWeather.com. And again, there's a difference right now between the European model and the GFS model. I favor the European model because of its history, but also the situation given the strength and the location of this particular stationary high pressure system that both models agree will be in eastern Canada by the early part of next week. So dry and chilly for the rest of this week, but the potential for a prolonged period of onshore flow right here along the mid-Atlantic coast from the early to the middle part of next week, and we'll monitor that situation over the next few days here at the SIweather.com. That's it for now. I'm the SI meteorologist, Paul Dorian.